Welcome back to Galaxy Recaps. Today we will be diving into an action drama film titled To Catch a Killer. Enjoy the recap. Get ready, folks, because we're diving into a chilling New Year's Eve nightmare in the heart of Baltimore, Maryland. Picture this. An unknown sniper is taking ruthless shots at the unsuspecting crowd, dropping innocent revelers one by one. Right in the middle of this chaos is Eleanor, a rookie cop who starts her night dealing with minor disputes. Suddenly, an urgent dispatch call redirects her to a dangerous scene. She's summoned to a local residence where a young boy has been struck down by a sniper, with a bullet piercing through the window. Things get even more intense. The team on the scene analyzes the bullet trajectory from all the shots, pointing them to a nearby apartment. But hold your breath, because just as they are about to make their move, the apartment erupts in flames, creating a fiery distraction. As panic-stricken residents flee the burning building, Eleanor's sharp instincts kick in. She ensures that every person is captured on video, just in case the elusive sniper is hiding among them. Battling through the choking smoke and chaos, our brave officers, along with the SWAT team and firefighters, venture into the gutted apartment. Eleanor tags along, showing her sharp eye for detail that catches the attention of FBI agent Lamarck. But the smoke is too thick and she passes out. Back at the precinct, Lamarck takes charge, briefing the team about the horrifying truth. The sniper isn't just a killer, he's a skilled marksman. The news spreads quickly, and the media goes into a frenzy, sparking debates about what makes a killer. The death toll now stands at a staggering 29. Morning dawns on a city on edge. FBI agent Lamarck finds himself in a heated debate with Deputy Mayor Jesse, who stubbornly refuses to take the necessary precautions in a city held hostage by an active killer. You'd think it's common sense, right? Meanwhile, Eleanor is called to meet Lamarck, but surprise, Special Agent Mac makes an entrance. Guess what? Our rookie cop, Eleanor, is now chosen to join this elite FBI team in their quest to catch the deadly sniper. The Baltimore Police Department kicks off the investigation at full speed. Surveillance tapes are rolling, and resident interviews are underway. There's no room for mistakes. Lamarck makes it clear he's the boss. Every move needs his approval. So off go our trio, Mac, Eleanor, and Lamarck, to the morgue, trying to find some clue from the lifeless victims. But here's the twist. There's no connection, no pattern among the victims, just people being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Lamarck believes the sniper isn't out for punishment but disruption, aiming to shatter the city's everyday routine. Then comes a big update from the BPD. They've supposedly caught the killer. Wait, is this the end already? Seems too easy, right? The suspect is a teenager from the very building that exploded, a school dropout with a taste for violent video games. Suspicion grows stronger when he clams up, refusing to answer any questions. Our story takes a sharp turn when the teen suspect feels cornered as SWAT crashes through his door, causing him to panic and bolt. Lamarck isn't convinced, though, warning his colleagues not to jump to conclusions without solid evidence. Lamarck confronts FBI head Frank and Deputy Mayor Jesse about their hasty approach. But Jesse has his own agenda. The city is pushing for a gas refinery, and the teen's Arab background, along with his threats, bought them some breathing space. But Lamarck's not buying it, suggesting Jesse save his explanation for the teenager's distraught parents. Back at the office, they have a new task: interview 3 men who had access to the apartment keys: Lang, Haynes, and Dimitri. Lamarck grills them about their alibis, digging into their pasts, reaching back 2 years. It's meticulous and intense, but they all have their stories straight. Meanwhile, Eleanor is sifting through heaps of CCTV footage using facial recognition software. A critical lab report lands on her desk, but she doesn't prioritize it, leading to a stern reprimand from Lamarck. After a rough day, as Eleanor walks home, Lamarck pulls up in his limo, offering an olive branch for his earlier outburst. Eleanor ends up at his house for dinner, where she meets Lamarck's partner Gavin. Their dinner conversation ranges from societal issues to personal histories. A heart-to-heart unfolds between Eleanor and Lamarck as they discuss why she never mentioned her previous FBI application rejection. She confesses to failing her psych exam and having a history of substance abuse. This story just got even more intense, folks. As we dig deeper, Lamarck reviews Eleanor's file, revealing a past filled with personal struggles. But there's a silver lining. The rush of police work gives her a sense of purpose. Meanwhile, a bustling mall becomes the new scene. A figure concealed by a hoodie slips into a dressing room, stealthily swiping a man's clothes. His daring doesn't stop there. He takes a quick wash in the public restroom, drawing disgusted comments from passers-by. Security is alerted when this same man is seen scavenging half-eaten meals at the mall's eateries. The confrontation heats up when he defies the office's orders to open his bag. But before things can escalate further, the piercing sound of gunfire fills the air. At the same time, Eleanor is deep into an interview with a gun shop owner, probing about potential sources for the killer's vintage weapon. Her investigation is abruptly interrupted by a phone call bearing grim news. The killer has struck again, and the scale of his carnage is unparalleled. As Eleanor traverses through the shops, she is met with a horrific sight of countless victims. Lamarck joins her in the mall's security room, scanning the CCTV footage for clues. What they find chills them. A lean, tall, white male who hides his identity under his hood. His purpose at the mall wasn't to kill initially, but to find food, clean himself up, and find new clothes. But as the footage continues, the scene shifts. The man is seen exiting the mall, executing a cold-blooded massacre with frightening precision. He even plants grenades in the trash bins, maximizing the death toll. The immediate task at hand is to locate the clothes he discarded, but there's a hitch. The garbage truck already made its rounds, whisking away potential evidence. The trail of our relentless detectives now leads to a veritable mountain of garbage. Gross, yeah, but crucial for the hunt. Those discarded clothes might just hold the key to catching this predator, perhaps a strand of DNA or even fingerprints. As our dynamic duo Mac and Eleanor trudge through the trash, Lamarck gets pulled aside by Jesse, who seems more concerned about the city's image than catching the killer. Jesse and Frank tell Lamarck he has to play by their rules, whether he likes it or not. Mac and Eleanor return victorious with a bag containing the killer's clothes. Let the science do the talking now. As they set to work, the grim images from the mall massacre flash across the TV screens, the media playing up the horror for the ratings game. The evidence starts speaking, traces of paint and brittle hair typical of head injuries discovered on the clothes. Eleanor dives back into their list of suspects, her eyes falling on Lang, who's juggling 2 full-time paint jobs daily. Meanwhile, the news media is giving voice to the public, taking in live calls. One such call is chilling, a man praising the killing soldier and spewing racist comments. To make matters worse, he claims to be the killer and threatens the newscaster and his family. The FBI is quick on the draw, tracing the call. Despite the caller's profile not matching the quiet loner description of their suspect, they can't ignore this lead. He's traced, his name and car located. Turns out he's an NRA member and a part of the 3%ers group. Orders come down from Jesse to mobilize helicopters and SWAT to apprehend him. But Lamarck isn't fully convinced. Emerging from the caller's car are 4 skinheads, high on their prank on the liberal TV anchor. Eleanor and Mac proceed undercover to the caller's location, but their covert operation is blown by an unsuspecting old man. The situation spirals out of control as gunfire is exchanged between our officers and the Proud Boys. The aftermath leaves 1 officer down, 3 of the men neutralized, and the caller tasered. It's a whirlwind of chaos, especially when it turns out the caller's threats were all bluster. The next day, Lamarck is hauled before the disciplinary committee, accused of making reckless decisions. Despite his attempts to clarify, the focus remains on him being in charge of the investigation. His decision to allow live callers has inadvertently spiked crime in the city, and he's the one held responsible. The committee doesn't stop there. Eleanor is also put on the spot, her flaws highlighted, and her reputation tarnished. Despite Lamarck defending her, the verdict is damning. Lamarck is on the verge of losing his job. He issues a stark warning. If he's ousted, the killer remains free. Yet they don't heed his caution and fire not only Lamarck but also Mac and Eleanor. Reeling from their sudden dismissal, the trio drown their sorrows in a bar, already replaced in their roles. Gavin comes to collect Lamarck, leading to Mac and Eleanor reflecting on the injustice meted out to Lamarck after his decades of service. A heartbroken Eleanor heads home, only for a sudden realization to dawn on her. Driven by this newfound insight, Eleanor confronts Lang. She's put the pieces together. He was outsourcing his jobs, passing off the work as his own, but giving the keys to someone else. Lang agrees to help and is brought to Lamarck, confessing he had been employing homeless people who struggled to find work otherwise, paying them half wages and providing them lunch. In a massive break in the case, Lang reveals a crucial detail. One of his workers, Dean, had been a vegetarian, citing his previous employment at a slaughterhouse in southern Maryland as the reason for his dietary choice. Dean's physique matches that of the mall shooters, a significant lead. With only a first name to go by, Lang assists a sketch artist in creating an image of Dean. Armed with this sketch, Eleanor sets out on a new mission, visiting the 3 slaughterhouses downstate in hopes of identifying Dean. Her efforts pay off when an elderly worker recognizes Dean. It turns out Dean had left the job due to a cruel nickname, Kazimoto, given by his manager in reference to a head deformity. Dean's past also includes a stint in the army where his father, a shooting instructor, secured his release after a short service with letters from generals vouching for his good character. With the address of Dean's mother in hand, Eleanor and Lamarck decide to pay a visit, determined to handle it without FBI involvement. After all, they're off the official roster anyway. They're greeted by Mrs. Posse, who agrees to assist, but only under one condition. They must try to apprehend Dean alive. She shares the heart-wrenching story of how a childhood accident where Dean was shot at the age of 6 drastically changed him. But the drama doesn't stop there, folks. Amid the emotional recounting, Eleanor spots signs of recent occupation. It dawns on her that Dean is there, but before she can alert Lamarck, the unthinkable happens. Lamarck is shot. As they reel from this sudden turn, Mrs. Posse implores them to hand hand over their guns, assuring that she can convince Dean not to harm them further. With a mother's desperate plea, Mrs. Posse approaches the shed, calling for her son Dean to surrender. However, the situation quickly escalates when she suggests he should follow her example, and she shoots herself, pushing him to reveal himself. Eleanor, using her empathetic skills, tries to connect with Dean to understand his deep-seated resentment towards society. She discovers a side of him not reflected by his violent acts. A loner seeking solace in nature, intelligent but cold-hearted, they strike a deal. He wants her to shoot him when he falls asleep, and have him cremated next to his mother. Their negotiation is interrupted by the arrival of the police, likely alerted by the gunshots. Dean, not taking any chances, takes Eleanor hostage in the shed, tying her up and opening fire on the first officer. The second officer manages to call for backup before being shot too. In this critical moment, Eleanor begs Dean to stop the bloodshed, but he ignores her. As backup arrives, Dean sets a trap. Despite Eleanor's pleas, he detonates it as reinforcements approach the shed. At the same time, Eleanor fights back, wounding him. Dean escapes, and Eleanor frees herself, informing the police of his direction. She watches as he heads towards the pasture, where he finds solace among the cows. With the police hot on his trail, Dean doesn't get far before lying down by a container. The police arrive and surround him. Dean takes a final breath and aims his gun at them, but they don't hesitate to open fire. The conflict is over. Dean is down. Later, Eleanor faces Frank and Jesse, who offer her a deal to keep silent, allowing them to take credit for the capture on behalf of the FBI and the mayor's office. However, Eleanor stands her ground. She rejects their offer and makes her own demands: a posthumous Medal of Honor and a full pension for Lamarck's partner, plus a position for herself as an FBI investigator. With these terms agreed, Eleanor sees her victory twisted, as the press is fed a heroic version of events that paints Frank and Jesse as the ones who apprehended the killer. But for Eleanor, the fight for truth and justice continues.